Imagine stepping into a virtual world so realistic you can smell the ocean breeze, taste the salt on your lips, and feel your brain light up as if it were actually happening. For decades, virtual reality has played mostly to our eyes and ears, but the next frontier of immersion isn't visual at all. It's sensory. And the scientists behind this revolution are doing something that borders on science fiction. They're learning how to hijack the human senses of taste and smell to make digital experiences feel completely real. According to recent studies from the University of Tokyo, Stanford's Virtual Human Interaction Lab, and the National Institute of Sensory Science in Singapore, researchers are experimenting with ways to recreate taste and scent directly through neural and chemical stimulation. Instead of simulating through pixels or sound waves, they're interfacing directly with the body's sensory systems. This technology doesn't just show you a world, it makes your body believe you're living inside it, bypassing the boundary between imagination and biology. Imagine eating a virtual steak that your body genuinely perceives as juicy and flavorful, without ever touching a single molecule of food. In early experiments, electrodes placed on the tongue and nasal passages have successfully triggered the same neural patterns your brain associates with sweetness, saltiness, or even umami. Combined with olfactory emitters that recreate airborne molecules, this method is bringing us closer to the first true multisensory metaverse. Scientists are even beginning to map individual olfactory signatures, the unique way each person perceives smell, so future VR experiences can adapt to your personal sensory fingerprint. The implications are staggering. If developers can control sensory input, they can essentially build emotions, memories, and physical sensations out of data. Smell and taste are among the most powerful triggers for memory and emotion, far more than sight or sound. A single whiff of perfume or taste of chocolate can take you back decades. Now imagine VR capable of invoking that same depth of feeling on demand. The mind doesn't need to distinguish between what's real and what's simulated if the brain's sensory pathways are fully engaged. This convergence of psychology, neuroscience, and technology could create experiences so real they reshape our very definition of consciousness. If you're fascinated by where this is heading, make sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications, because what's coming next will redefine reality as we know it. Early prototypes are already bridging this gap between physical and digital perception. At City University of Hong Kong, engineers developed a flexible electronic device that sticks to the upper lip, using tiny electrical pulses to stimulate the tongue's taste receptors. By changing the intensity and pattern of current, they can produce sensations of bitterness, saltiness, or sweetness, without any actual chemical compounds. Meanwhile, researchers in Singapore have created wearable scent generators that release microdoses of custom-engineered molecules synchronized with virtual environments. Walk through a digital forest, and you might smell pine resin, rain-soaked earth, or even the faint metallic tang of ozone during a simulated thunderstorm. In Japan, a startup called Aromex has been experimenting with scent layering, mixing multiple micro-fragrances to produce complex, realistic olfactory scenes that evolve over time. Their technology can shift a scent profile from morning dew to smoky campfire in seconds. Combined with haptic feedback and neural stimulation, these systems are beginning to mimic the full tapestry of human experience. But the most fascinating progress comes from neural-level manipulation. In 2023, a team at the University of Tokyo demonstrated olfactory VR that doesn't rely on dispersing chemicals at all. Instead, they use targeted electrical stimulation of the olfactory bulb, essentially tricking the brain into perceiving specific smells. This opens a door far beyond traditional sensory devices. It's no longer about reproducing smells, it's about writing new ones directly into the brain's perception system. The implications go far beyond entertainment. This could transform medicine, therapy, and even human communication itself. Consider PTSD treatment. Smell is one of the strongest cues tied to traumatic memory. With controlled sensory VR, therapists could reintroduce safe versions of those triggers in a virtual environment, allowing the brain to rewrite its response in real time. On the flip side, stimulating pleasant scents and tastes can reduce anxiety, depression, and even appetite. Hospitals are already testing olfactory VR as a way to comfort patients undergoing chemotherapy, where altered sense of taste and smell often make eating unbearable. New clinical trials in Europe are studying how olfactory stimulation can restore emotional regulation in patients with dementia by rekindling lost sensory pathways. But the line between healing and manipulation is razor thin. When you can control how someone perceives the world, you also control how they feel about it. Ethical researchers are asking tough questions. Who owns your sensory data? Who decides what you taste or smell in a digital world? And if companies can craft synthetic emotions through direct sensory input, could they also weaponize it for persuasion or addiction? Imagine advertising campaigns that make products literally smell irresistible, or training programs that condition behavior through pleasure-based neural feedback. The ethics of sensory design may soon become as critical as the ethics of AI. Right now, sensory VR is still in its infancy. The hardware is bulky, expensive, and requires close calibration to avoid nausea or overstimulation. But as AI improves signal decoding, systems are becoming far more precise. In 2024, MIT's Media Lab unveiled a prototype that uses machine learning to map unique taste receptor profiles across individuals, meaning VR systems can tailor experiences to your personal biology. You might love the same virtual meal that someone else finds unpalatable, because your neural wiring interprets taste differently. This hyper-personalization could become a new form of digital luxury, not just custom visuals, but custom sensations built for your brain alone. Some developers are even exploring AI-driven, adaptive environments that change in real time based on biometric feedback, ensuring the perfect balance between stimulation and comfort. It's worth remembering that VR isn't just about escape, it's also about empathy. Direct sensory manipulation could let people experience how others perceive the world. Imagine sharing the taste of traditional foods through culture-based VR experiences, or using scent to transport someone into the memories of a lost loved one. A project by researchers at the University of Sussex is even exploring ways to encode emotions into scents that can be transmitted between users in real time. A kind of chemical telepathy powered by data. You could literally smell someone's mood. If you're captivated by how these breakthroughs blur the line between real and virtual, be sure to subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. The possibilities for education are equally profound. Students studying marine biology might explore coral reefs while breathing in the scent of the ocean, while culinary students could practice virtual cooking by tasting simulated ingredients. Museums may use olfactory storytelling to recreate ancient environments, the burning incense of Egyptian temples or the aroma of Roman marketplaces. When learning engages every sense, retention skyrockets, because the brain processes the experience as lived memory, rather than passive observation. We're not far from a world where taste and smell become part of the digital design toolkit. Creators could layer sensory cues into storytelling, a smoky scent for tension, a burst of citrus during resolution. The next generation of VR filmmakers may not direct what you see, they'll direct what you feel, down to the level of your nervous system. This kind of immersion could fundamentally shift how art, advertising, and even social interaction function. It's the birth of a new art form, neuroaesthetics in motion. Think about virtual dining, Michelin-starred chefs partnering with VR companies to create flavor experiences that exist only in data form. No ingredients, no calories, just pure sensation. Or imagine fitness apps that reward you with the scent of rain-soaked soil after a run through a digital forest. These experiences may sound abstract now, but they're already being tested in labs across Japan, South Korea, and the United States. In the near future, restaurants could offer multi-sensory tasting menus, where half the flavors are virtual, blending physical and digital gastronomy into something entirely new. The crossover between neuroscience and immersive technology is accelerating faster than most realize. Brain-machine interfaces, originally developed for prosthetics and medical use, are now being retooled for entertainment and education. Elon Musk's Neuralink isn't the only player in this space. Companies like NextMind, Olfaction Labs, and Feel Real are creating consumer-ready devices that combine scent cartridges with neural feedback systems. Together, they're forming the sensory architecture of what researchers call the Neuroverse, a full-spectrum reality where the brain senses are programmable. Scientists envision a future where scent and taste data can be transmitted over networks just like sound or video, giving rise to sensory internet streaming. And this raises another question. What happens to authenticity when everything can be fabricated? If you can download the taste of your favorite meal or the scent of your childhood home, does it cheapen the real thing or make it eternal? Philosophers and neuroscientists alike are debating whether synthetic perception could eventually become indistinguishable from reality itself. The answer may depend less on the tech and more on the human mind's willingness to believe. Cognitive researchers at UC Berkeley suggest that prolonged exposure to simulated senses could actually rewire how the brain prioritizes real stimuli, potentially blurring the boundary between digital and organic experience. In the years ahead, expect sensory VR to become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Food companies could test new flavors without growing or cooking anything. Travel brands might let you smell a destination before booking. Even online dating could evolve. Imagine being able to perceive someone's scent chemistry through an avatar, adding a biological dimension to virtual attraction. These concepts may sound futuristic, but they're being actively prototyped today. Fashion brands are even experimenting with digital fragrances that adapt to virtual environments. Think perfume that changes scent based on your digital mood or surroundings. As the boundaries between digital and biological experience dissolve, humanity faces an unprecedented choice: use this power to deepen connection, or to manipulate it. The same technology that can bring comfort to a cancer patient could also be used to engineer desire, control appetite, or influence emotion in ways we don't yet fully understand. Regulation and transparency will be crucial as these tools enter mainstream use. We'll need digital ethics strong enough to handle not just what we see and hear, but what we feel, smell, and taste. Some ethicists argue that sensory rights, control over what your body perceives, should become a cornerstone of future human rights law. The story of VR has always been about presence, the feeling of being somewhere else, but direct sensory manipulation turns that concept inside out. It's no longer about escaping into another world, it's about redefining the boundaries of your own perception. Reality, as the brain understands it, is built from signals. Change the signals, and you change reality itself. For the first time, humans are learning how to write those signals from scratch. We are becoming co-authors of perception, scripting the very chemistry of experience. One day soon, the smell of rain or the taste of coffee might not come from nature at all, but from code. The only question is whether that will make life more meaningful, or just more controllable. Either way, the age of sensory computing is here, and our senses may never be the same again. So stay curious, stay aware, and remember, what you feel next might not come from the world around you, but from the world within the machine. Subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. This is Tech Mythos.